Hello everybody, this is the Hidalgo Show, and today we're talking about the word reform. The word reform. So I'm bringing up a form that's very popular that we use all the time in the world that we live in. This is an open enrollment application form. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because a lot of states are reforming their education laws, and I want to show you what reforming actually means and how it is that you participate in the new form of law. And this is how all new forms of law are participated in. It doesn't really matter what the new form is. This is how they connect your willingness to be administrated by the state law very specifically. Alright, now there's a couple things I want to note right away. First of all, this application, the old ones used to have right along the top, right here where it says parent, guardian, this area here, in this blank space just below the for athletic eligibility, right below there, it used to say pursuant to South Dakota codified law blank blank blank. You'll notice that that's gone. Well, people were crossing that out and basically saying I'm not interested in being administrated by the state, so therefore I'm going to cross this law out and we're going to fill out the application. Well, so there's a lot of things on this that I want you to understand. So we're going to start at the most basic level. What is a form of law? Okay, well, there's different definitions for a form of law, but something that every law form does is they place your administrative consent on a form. This is what they do. And they get you to sign away or waiver your personal right to administrate your household, to administrate yourself, to administrate your children, and they do this in a variety of ways. One way that they do it is they place a lot of traps on their form. You should never fill out their form. If they want information that they're entitled to have, you can give them the stuff they're entitled to have, right? They're allowed to know, for census purposes, how many people live in your house. They're entitled to know that. That's okay. For census purposes, they can know that, because they got to know how to apportion, proper representation to all the states and to all the different parts of the state for the House of Representatives. So that's fine. That's fine. We'll give them that. But really, that's about as far as it goes, as far as the authority that they have to know anything. So we're going to go through here, and I'm going to point out things. But first, we're going to start with the most obvious thing. What is on this form that would declare profoundly that this indeed is a form that belongs to the state of South Dakota? Right on the very top left-hand corner, you'll see the South Dakota seal. Now let me ask you a question. If I used the South Dakota seal on a form that I put out to, say, my Patreon members, say my patrons, right? Let's say I sent them a form and I put a South Dakota seal on it. What would happen to me? I mean, I would be accused of violating a law or practicing law, because I would be basically putting myself in a situation of representing the state, and I do not represent the state. I am not an agent of the state. By using the seal, I'm declaring that I'm an agent of the state. So here is the very first trap. State of South Dakota seal, the Great Seal, appears on this document, which basically says, this form, beware of Will Robinson. Will Robinson, danger, danger, Will Robinson, right? Here it is. There's the first sign. Danger. We are acting as a representative or an agency of the state. What you are about to sign is a consent form. Okay? Under provisions that the state have passed concerning education. Now, how do we know this? Well, who's the agent that gave it to us to fill out? McCook Central. See up in the window there to to go type in the website, right? The browser window. See, it says mccookcentral.k12.sd.us. So, what agent delivered it to us? What department do they work for? Right? Okay, so this is super, super important. Now, the first thing you read on here is parent guardian. Do they make the selection for you? Parent guardian? No, they just say parent/guardian. So, if I were a parent, what would I do? If I was going to fill out this form, which I'm not, but if I was going to fill out this form, one thing I would do is I'd circle parent and I'd cross out guardian. Because I'm certainly not a guardian, I am the parent. I have the true authority. Right? And there are a lot of traps on this form. But in the end, everything on this form, whether approved or disapproved, okay, all of it is in favor of the state. It's all in the favor of the state. So you should not fill it out, period, at all, in any way. So let me go to the deeper issues now. A reform is when they place their new law in the way that their law designates it on an application or a registration document, such as the one you're looking at here, an enrollment document. And when you sign this form, you're signing your authority for the state to administrate the education of your children. Now, they'll tell you if you don't fill this out, if you don't sign it, that you will be found as having committed truancy, and your children will be picked up and taken to school, and you're going to have all kinds of problems. Well, yes, that was the case the first time that I refused to sign this. And in the end, I went ahead and at the time it said, pursuant to such and such codified law. And I crossed it out and I went ahead and filled it out. But then I got smart and I said, these guys, they know they have no authority, so I'm going to send them a letter before the school year even starts to let them know that in no uncertain terms, they have zero authority to administrate my children. and then my children will be educated privately. So, and on my own terms, by the way, privately and on my own terms. So we sent them a letter, and I've shown the letter before on this show. You can go back to other episodes, and I'm sure you could find it. But I sent them a letter, and you don't hear anything back. But if you instruct them in the letter that they need to let their agents know not to solicit you to register, they will not put a registration form in your envelope. And if they do, that's a solicitation. And you look on the fee schedule for what a solicitation costs, it's pretty expensive. So they generally don't like to pay out these tremendous amounts. So instead of an enrollment application in my registration packet for my one kid that wanted to go to school to play football, because they don't let homeschoolers play football, or private students play football. All they let play football are those who attend. So he wanted to go so he could play football, and we were okay with it. We just did things a different way. So when the form came back, when we received the packet at registration day, the only thing in our packet was a census report, and the census report was pretty off. It was wrong on 100 levels. One of the things that was on there in small print way down at the bottom was a little asterisk that said guardian. So I looked through the document to find out where they applied that word guardian, and sure enough, right next to my name there was an asterisk. And that asterisk basically indicated that in their opinion, in their records, I'm a guardian. And fact is I think that's pretty much how they have everyone on record as guardian, because if you've ever consented for your children to be governed under their administrative policies, then you are a guardian. You've declined to be a parent, and they will not acknowledge you as a parent. So that's a fact. And so the reason I bring this forward to you today is because I'm noticing that a lot of states are starting to put together reform bills. And these reform bills are basically just a different trap. It's a different honey trap. And so what you do to understand what the differences are is you take the old form and you take the new form and you compare them. And you'll find out that there are differences. There has to be. There always is. Even if the only difference is that it says at the bottom, sometimes it'll say what year it was created. And it'll say, this one was created pursuant to 2015, and the next one was created 2019. That might be the only difference. But that's the difference. The difference is that, this is a new form of law, right? It's a reform. So there's a lot of reforming happening right now, and I just want to bring this to your attention so that you can understand that reform is literally a new form. It means that they're going to redo their form. It means that if they reform Social Security, guess what? That means they're changing their Social Security forms. If they reform the tax law, that means they're changing the tax forms. If they reform military law, they're changing the military forms. Reforming means they're going to create a new form. It's literal. This is something that it seems to escape most people, but I want to point it out to you, my Hidalgo Show family, so that you will not fall into this trap. And the biggest trap of all is that seal. That seal should provide all the proof necessary for all of us to understand that they're operating in an agency that's administrated by the state. Why would we as the ecclesia, would we as God's people who are administrated under His law, the law of liberty in the book of James, the law of Christ, the law of Hamashiach, why would we in a million years ever start to fill out a form that has a seal of the state on it, when we know that the state is viciously separated itself from the church and it wants nothing to do with the ecclesia whatsoever, and they have gone so far off the deep end? We need to wise up. Their form is unworthy. We will not and cannot participate in any new reform, any new form of action. We're going to have to learn how to deal with these situations when they come. And we should not be concerned about courts. We should not be concerned about courts. Courts are nothing. They're arbitrating contracts is what they're doing. And if you've not entered a contract, then what fear do you have? But they're going to try to get you to admit that you are administrated by the state. And this is why we all need to be wise as serpents, but harmless like doves. So, I hope this show has helped you a little bit, showing you something. I know it's not a very long show, but I didn't want it to be a long show. I wanted it to be kind of easy and very, very easy for you to figure out. You know, they're changing a lot of vaccine laws right now, right? State-endorsed administrative vaccine laws. So, what do you think is going to happen? The vaccine forms are going to change, right? They're reforming them, so they're going to change the form. So be wise. Understand that they're changing the form, and that the corporation known as the Department of Health is putting out a new form. And that you must not participate in that new form, even though they try to trick you into saying that you have to. You do not have to. They'll press you and push you and tell you, yeah, you have to, it's the law. No, it's not the law. It is a law, but there are many. And the law that I follow is the law of Christ. Simple. Nothing complicated about this. If you're a patron, thank you very much for endorsing this show, for being a part. Let me encourage everyone who listens to join as a patron at least $1 level. $1 a month is not a very difficult thing to do. But if you want the extra content, and there are some extra content out there. In fact, I just did one last week that was extra content. And only those at the $5 or more per month level have access to that. And I would encourage everyone to join at that level if you can. If you can't, you know what? Hey, it is what it is. We have the Facebook channel for this purpose. You can join us there. You can like it. You can get on and make comments. You can do all kinds of things. Not many people do that, it seems. So go ahead and comment on the video. Give me a thumbs up or something. Okay? If you're not a Facebooker, but you love to watch videos online, you got YouTube. We're still on YouTube, at least for now. I'm looking at an alternative, to YouTube, but we are still on YouTube, and we're hoping that you'll come by, you'll subscribe, click the bell, become a part of our channel, learn. We already know, the scripture tells us that it's for a lack of knowledge that we're destroyed, and that lack of knowledge is just based on not understanding our own language. Reform means a new form. That's what it means. They're telling you what it is right there. Hey, we've reformed the law. Okay, so that means you got a new form, right? Oh, let me see it. Oh, can't do that one. Here, take it back. So we got the Facebook option, we got the YouTube option, and we can also receive emails. I've got an email, guys. You can hit me up anytime, ask questions, tell me what you want me to talk about. Whatever it is, I can do it. Check out the email at the bottom of the screen. And then we also have a place for you to write in. You can write me letters. You can send me a package. You can send me a package of something that you want me to share online, or something private that you don't want me to share online. Whatever it is, you can send it to me. There's the address. Alright, so with that said, I don't want to make this any longer. God bless all you guys. Thank you very much for listening to the show. And remember, every single thing we do at the Hidalgo Show, and all the other things I do, literally, they're all about the blood.